Hello everyone. So in this video we are going to write SQLize entities for MySQL. Okay, so we'll write like user post tag. So let's get started. We have used SQLize CLI in the previous video, and we have created a required folders like migration, seeders, config, and our model. Okay, this is what we have already done. Now, what we will be doing is, first of all, we have to create one SQLize RC file because currently these environment variables are exposed. Okay. Consider if I wanted to get them from .env file, then how would I get them? So for that, I need to convert this .json to .js file. So for that, what we can do is SQLize provide a way to change this JSON to .js file. SQLize RC file you can create, and what you will have in the SQLize RC file, the custom path you are going to have for SQLize file like config. Inside config I'm going to have a config.js that will take care of this configuration, and if I convert it then it will become invalid JSON. So we have to use the correct config.json, and we will be getting the data from .env module. So we are going to use the .env module to load the .env file into process.env variable. So I think this is pretty much straightforward. We are using .env config, and then for development configurations we will be getting all these environment variables, and these are already there in the env: db username, db password, db name, and node environment is development. So based on development environment we will be able to get this chunk of data. Chunk of data means the MySQL object. And in our model you can see that we are reading this. So this is an auto generated file through the SQLize CLI. We are checking the node environment, otherwise it is a development, and we are getting these configurations from there. So now instead of JSON we are going to have a JS file. So we just change it to .js, and we are passing the environment variable in the config. Yeah, so we have a DB object, and on the DB object we are binding all our models. Now what is the next thing is we have to create our models. So here we can create a user.js, or let's say post.js. So I will not be talking what are the different ways to define the associations. If you want to use SQLize fully with your application, then you can use SQLize to write migration, to query the DB. Some people use SQLize only to write migrations. Migrations are also the plain queries like create table, insert table, update, alter table, and all. But we will be using the full features of SQLize to help us in the migration and also query the database. Okay, so let's create our user entity. So in the user entity we are going to have few parameters, and how to write module.exports. SQLize and data types it takes. Data types, and here we can define and our entity const user, and const user is, let me zoom this a little bit, and our const user will be SQLize.define. So here we are defining the model. So it's kind of similar to what we have seen in the Mongoose. This is a user model, and here I will have, this is the object. So in this object I will be providing all the option definition, means the column definitions. So it can be your ID, first name, last name, and all. Like if I add ID and first name, it will be just a JSON key value pair. Inside this object you can say ID is integer, primary key is true, auto increment true, and then you can have other columns like first name is there, you can add a last name. Last name will have the same kind of attributes. Then you can have an email. Okay, email should be a unique, right? So we can add different attributes. Email should be unique, true, allow, null, false, allow, null, false, unique, true. These are the constraints we are imposing on the email. Unique, true, allow, null, and type. Data type is a string. And finally we have a password. So password will have a data type string and allow, null, false, because we are going to provide authentication also to the user. So this is my user entity I have created. And now if I wanted to talk about associations, like how to define the associations in the SQLize, then this is a user object I have defined. Let's close it here, and user dot associate, and you can just write a function, and in that function you will be defining the association rules. This function accept all the models we have. Okay, and in this function you can say user is going to have many posts. I don't know why this autocomplete is not working. These are the models, and we have post entity which we are going to create. Okay, after doing this we can just return user. Let me see. Okay, we created this user, and then we are returning a user. Okay, so this is the one entity model we have created on SQLize. And what this index.js is doing, it is reading this file. You can see object.key. So here we are reading the current directory, filtering those files which are having .js extension. Then we are running a for each. For each loop is just importing these models and assigning these models on the DB object. Okay, and then it is just we are assigning this, we are adding the SQLize and SQLize both small and capital on the DB object. So now while importing, you will be importing the models from this index.js. Okay, similarly we will be writing the post. If you just see, you can just copy this, and we'll just change the attributes here. Okay, this is going to be a post, SQLize.define post, and inside post we will have id as a primary key and other columns like title, content, and all. Title will be a type string of content. So there are many types. I think it should be a big text or long text. I will check this in the documentation. It should be long text or something. Okay, content, and we have a status of this blog, if this has been published or not. It should be a boolean, and allow, null, false. There is no point of having unique, so we'll remove it. So these are the columns we are going to have in the post. Okay, now post will also have associations, like a single post is going to belongs to a single user, right? Because user can write multiple posts. If you talk about a single post, it is going to be associated with a one author, you can say. So post dot associate, and we are accessing the models, and we can say post dot belongs to. So there are multiple methods. Post dot has many, has one, belongs to. All these methods are there. Belongs to your models dot user. So indirectly it is saying that a single post will belongs to a single author. Otherwise it would have called it like post dot has many. Right, now in future we are going to have tags also. So like post dot belongs to many means one single post can have many tags. So you just need to identify where to write what. Like in the user we are writing has many, right? Similarly in the post entity, in the tag entity, we are going to write tag dot has many, but in the post entity you will be writing belongs to and belongs to many. So that I will cover a little bit about the associations in the next video, how we are associating one to one, one to many, many to many, and what need to be what we will be writing in these models to define the associations. We are not defining, because when you run the sequelize migrations, all these associations will automatically gets created. The primary key of one table will become a foreign key in the another table. Okay, all these kind of associations gets automatically created. We just need to follow the sequelize rules to define the associations. Okay, this is we have created for post and for user. Now whenever we do a sequelize run migration or sequelize sync, so here you need to understand, sequelize migration will run only those migrations which are written in the folder, but these are empty. But when you do the sequelize sync, so this is a utility sequelize sync. What it will do is it will look at your models. Okay, has these been created already in database? Yes or no? If no, then it will create them. So sequelize sync will keep syncing the database with the updates. If you do sequelize sync, if I just talk about that utility, sequelize sync, if you pass the force true, it means it will drop all the tables once and then it will create again. So we can just look at the documentation. Okay, let's go here. So you can see here sequelize sync. So in this, if you are passing force true, then it will actually drop all the tables and it will create a one. It will create again, right? Otherwise, after creating the entities, most of our tasks are done. We just need to define the associations. So these are the associations which we can define. Has one, belongs to, has many, belongs to many. Okay, like if I just talk about in this video itself, foo has one bar, it's like a one to one, belongs to. So this is when you are defining a relationship with from foo to bar, then you will be writing has one. But when you will writing this thing in the bar model, then you will write bar belongs to foo. Okay, similarly the belongs to has one as the relationship. Similarly has many and belongs to many is the relationship, because we have to define this association in two different entities. One, like foo and bar. So foo has one, and in the bar you will be writing belongs to. Okay, so we can just check that, and you can also customize. Okay, what foreign key you wanted to add. You can actually do the same thing through the migration also, like creating the all the tables and defining the association with the primary key foreign key manually by specifying what particular id, what particular key you want as a foreign key. Okay, let's see that in the next video. Thanks everyone.